Hey, there we are. Time for a show. Birds chirping. I hear bugs. Some kind of bugs making noises. Still summer. Three, two, one. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today is Tuesday, August 18th, 2020. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. Well, right off the bat, I'm going to let you know that yesterday was a really challenging day. I'm not going to get into the specifics of it, but it was a tough day back from work. Really just on personal stuff. And I messed something up with somebody that matters to me. And that's weighing on me. I think it'll be okay, but we'll find out. So if I seem a little off today, that's why. I didn't sleep well. It was kind of all-consuming, mentally, emotionally. I think we all get there from time to time. We all make mistakes. And when we make mistakes, we gotta own up to them. And if there's a way to make it right, you make it right. And if there isn't, you apologize and learn from the mistake and hope the person you wronged will find a way to move past it, to forgive you. Those are the only two options, right? What else happened yesterday? Got some work done. Worked out a little bit. Recorded a Thursday episode. Email. Client calls. It was a pretty standard Monday. Nothing too special. Yeah. If you can't tell, yeah, this is weighing on me. It blows me away when professionals, yeah, I mean, like celebrities, people that host shows or whatever, and they're going through this horrendous drama that's very public, and it doesn't seem to affect them, that they're able to put on that face, wear that mask. That's a skill I don't have, at least not to that degree. Well, what's going on today? I got an interview. I think just one. You know what I got going on over the next couple weeks? I've got a couple calls with people who, they don't know this, but I'm going to try to license whistlekick products to them. What does that mean? That means that they will spend their own money, deal with their own quality control, manufacturing. Well, maybe not manufacturing. But it's a way that I'm looking at getting whistlekick products ramped up. And of course, the margins won't be anything like what I'm used to. If I can get $1 or $2 out of each item, I would be thrilled. Because it is clear that we need somebody with deeper pockets running that side. And I've got the first of those 2 calls today. These are people that reached out, that want to do things slightly differently than what I'm proposing, but all it takes is a little bit of time. Maybe I'll find the right person. Maybe that'll happen. maybe some other company will take care of all that side of it, and I can just go back to designing, developing products. That would be awesome. That's what I want to do. That's the fun part for me. As it sits right now, we've got a shipment that's been trying to leave the warehouse to go to Amazon for over 5 weeks. I don't know why. The warehouse keeps telling me, oh yeah, we're working on it. It's not that big. It's like 100 pieces. I don't know. Frustrating. 2020 has been a frustrating year. Most of it outside any of our control. That's even more frustrating. I like being in control of the situation. I like being able to say, hey, I messed up. This is my fault. Here's how I'm going to do better. Here's how I learn from my mistakes. But when you get kicked, you fall down, you find a way to get back up, and you get kicked again, it starts to get frustrating. And that's what 2020 has been, I think, for just about everybody. You just keep falling down. The cat will not be making an appearance. We got into a little bit of a discussion just prior to going live. She wanted to sit on my lap, and I tried to move her off to the side where she always sits during the show. She didn't like that and bit me. So I bopped her on the head. Not hard, just like a... Just a reminder, hey, it's my house. You live here at my discretion. And there's a really big spider up above the door right there. And I tried to get it before the show. And it ran into some gap in the wall. So I gotta figure that out. Because it's big with legs. It's like this big. It's a big spider. Happy Tuesday. Let's see what y'all running. I need more coffee, and I need to stop telling you about the boring things going on in my life. We got stuff today from Frank and Jen. We'll start with Frank's. According to daysoftheyear.com, today, Tuesday, August 18th, 2020, is Never Give Up Day. And so we've got 5 questions and quotes from Frank in here around that theme. Fear is frequently called a liar. Let me say that again. Fear is frequently a liar. Call its bluff. Guidepost Magazine. Fear is such an interesting response. Fear can tell you what's important to you. It can tell you where you're deficient. Not everyone has the same propensity for fear. See people that fly around in those wingsuits, a good number of them, and other daredevil-y type things. A good number of those people, their brain is actually wired differently. They don't get the same, dopamine release from doing mildly scary things that you and I do. So they've got to push it up several notches so they can feel the same things that the average person does. There's been some interesting studies, science on this stuff. One of the challenges that I experience in my day-to-day life is I was raised to follow all the rules, to not make waves, to just kind of be compliant. It's really hard to start a business that way. It's really hard to change the world that way. Somebody's working on their house already. A little early for that. So I learned as I got older that I couldn't be those things. I couldn't be compliant and follow all the rules if I was going to achieve the things I wanted to achieve. And there's something that I have reminded myself. There's a saying, and I found myself saying that this weekend. Fortune favors the bold. And that's to remind myself that when I'm confronted with a situation where, oh, I'm a little nervous, I don't know if I should go here, I don't know if this is the right place, that kind of stuff. I'm bold. Fortune favors the bold. Because you get far better stories when you're bold. And you meet more interesting people when you're bold. It's worth it. A man must be big enough to admit his mistakes, smart enough to prompt. I can't read today. Hold on. Let's try another sip of coffee. A man must be big enough to admit his mistakes, smart enough to profit from them, and strong enough to correct them. John C. Maxwell. Well, that certainly applies to what's going on in my life right now. The bookends of these three aspects are pretty obvious. Admit mistakes, correct mistakes, profit from mistakes. What's another way of saying that? Learning from them. Finding the positive somewhere in there. It could be learning a lesson. It could be some kind of business mistake, and oh, well, we learned something about our customers, and that leads to profit here. A lot of ways you could do that. My brain's not firing on all cylinders, so I'm not going to have any better examples. Oh, she's forgiving me. She's trying to play. The cat's got this odd personality trait where she only really plays when I'm not paying attention. And if I'm mad at her, she'll play like in a very silly way, throw things around and jump and pause once in a while, look to see if I'm paying attention. That's how she apologizes. She's a weirdo. It's good coffee. There are no failures, just experiences and your reactions to them. Tom Krause. I don't like the word failure, and I really dislike the kind of colloquial usage of the word fail. That's a fail, fail, you're a fail. That, I mean, let's be real, that's more the younger set. But what does the word fail mean? It means you're done, you've stopped. Don't give up. Failure is the end. And if there's more, then it's not a failure. If you learn from the mistake or the situation and you try again in a different way, you're not failing. When we think about sparring with others, you don't always hit, right? You don't always score a point or land a good shot. You're continually finding ways that work and don't work. It's an experiment. And every time with every opponent is a little bit different. Even the same person. You spar the same person all the time, and it's still going to be at least a little different every time. And you learn from that. There are times I'll teach sparring drills, and the whole foundation of them is to get people to think a little differently. We get trapped in these patterns. Such a big spider. We get trapped in these patterns in our sparring, in life. And it's really hard to break out of them. My morning routine is pretty much the same. I get up, get a glass of water, feed the cat, get coffee ready, sit down, do this show. After I do this show, I don't want you over here. No, you're in a grumpy mood. You can go lay over there. Sorry. You should see the look she gave me. It was very, very pouty face. After the show, I listen to the news, clean up the house a little bit, brush my teeth, make breakfast. The first hour to hour and a half that I'm awake is almost the same every day. That routine does benefit me. I don't have to think as hard about it. Stuff gets done. But it can be boring, it can be frustrating. It can make life feel monotonous. I'm not someone who craves routine. Where are you going? I told you to stay over there. You lay right there. And do not claw my robe. Robe clawer. No, not on me. All right, what's next? How do you never give up? If it's never give up day, how do you never give up? Keep trying. Look at it this way. How many things do we already not give up on? A lot. Things that we say, I don't have a choice. And I think the secret's in there. If you cook a bad meal, do you stop cooking? Do you stop eating? If you trip walking, do you stop walking and just sit down and give up? No, you don't have a choice. Those are things you've got to do. You've got to eat. You've got to walk. And so take that mindset into the other things that we do. Everything that we do is going to be on a spectrum. You'll have some days or occurrences that are good. You'll have others that are not. And you have to accept that there's going to be some bad. Whatever it is, the relative bad is always going to be pretty bad. I'll be honest. Yesterday was not a great day for me. But I'm very aware that there are plenty of people, maybe even millions of people in the world, who would give up everything they had for that to be their best day. I'm lucky. I am blessed. I live a very fortunate life. And so how does that relate? I live the life I live because I haven't given up on things. It's the reason the whistlekick slogan from day one has been never settle. I see other people using it. We started it. Other people have said that. I've never seen it as a slogan prior to us. Verizon was using it for a little while. Ugh, that sucked. I don't have it trademarked or anything because I'm not going to spend the money on that. But it's our slogan. You never give up. You never settle. You find ways to achieve what is important to you. Whether it's your training, whether it's your professional life, your personal life, your health. Are compromises necessary? Yes, that's not the same thing. So how do you never give up? You just try again. Every day we wake up is another opportunity to try again. Every time you go to class, it's another time to try again. Giving up doesn't serve anyone. It doesn't serve the people around you, it doesn't serve you, it doesn't serve the interconnectedness of the world. Have there been moments I've wanted to give up on whistlekick? Yeah. This is hard. This is the hardest thing I've ever done. This project is rough. When I started my IT company, it was rough for a few years. But by this time, I was doing fine. I was making good money. I worked more. I was probably more stressed. But at least the business side of it was more solid. Very aware I need to shave. Like everything. My face is getting hairy. My skull's getting hairy. It's a good thing eyebrows don't grow in the same way that the rest of the hair on our head does. Or eyelashes. Maybe down here. That would be silly. All right, what's next? Last one here from Frank. Any advice on how to cultivate an indomitable spirit? Indomitable spirit is one of the 5 tenets of Taekwondo. And it's a concept that is, I don't know if it's always understood. Indomitable. What does that mean? Indomitable. To not be dominated. To not be overtaken. To not quit. To not allow yourself to lose. It's that kind of a spirit. It's that kind of attitude. It is never giving up. It is never settling. It is refusing to back down. Now, of course, there are times when those things don't apply. But this is a martial arts show. That is a martial arts concept. We're talking about martial arts. So what's an indomitable spirit in martial arts? It's showing up to class. It's giving your best. It's learning from your mistakes. It's being humble. It's finding a way to give a little bit more when you don't want to. How do you cultivate that? Practice. It's an attitude. Attitudes are habitual. They require practice. If someone's used to giving up, they're gonna be more inclined to give up. If that's you, it's gonna take some time to get better at that. This is where, for me, I use affirmations. I set goals. I write myself, let's call them contracts that I hold myself to. I said I was going to do this. I'm going to do this because I don't want to feel terribly about myself for not doing this. Right, Cat? Good stuff. And one more. This is from Jen. Russian Jen. I'm late saying this, but thank you for the garden tour. Yes. I hope everyone enjoyed that. That was Friday's video I uploaded because I couldn't do it live. That was awesome. Do you dehydrate or can any of the produce you grow? I don't can much. I do a little bit. I do dehydrate. Mostly what I've been doing, and what I expect I'll be doing more of moving forward, is freezing, because I bought a chest freezer. So there are a couple big bags of blueberries that I picked. Those are in there. This does not look like it's going to be a big year for apples. It should be a good year for pears, but I have plenty of pear vinegar. I like pears, but they're small, and the work that goes into dehydrating them. I could probably make pear sauce, but I don't enjoy it nearly enough that I'm going to do that. That's a lot of work, too. What are you doing? You're being weird. What else am I going to have in abundance of? Potatoes. Those are just going to sit in the garage. Drew some artichokes. those will probably be the same thing. Pumpkin, I don't know what I'm doing with. Oh, to be a cat. Or a dog. I'd rather be a dog. Yeah, I don't do much in the way of food preservation. Just not my thing. But dehydration is what I've done a lot of historically. Lots of dried tomatoes, lots of dried peppers. And then they sit there and I don't do anything with them because I don't make soup. So, I think that answers those questions. I think it answers everything for today. All right. So I'm going to continue with my routine. I'm going to sit here, I'm going to drink my coffee, I'm going to listen to the news. I'm going to plan out my day. And I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do about that spider. Maybe I'll vacuum it up. That's probably a good solution. All right. I hope you have a great day. I hope you... But let's be cheesy. I hope you don't give up today. I hope you find something that is difficult in your day that maybe normally you would say, I'm going to quit on this. Give it a little bit more. See what happens. See how you feel. Maybe the results don't change, but maybe you feel better about the extra effort. Maybe other people notice it. Maybe it's the solution to some of your problems, just to try a little bit harder. If you're training today at some point, I hope you keep that section of the conversation in mind. I hope you look for ways to not give up. I hope you look for opportunities to give a little bit more and feel good about that process, about that effort. If you have questions or comments you want me to answer, drop them below. I'll answer them tomorrow. And if you want to support the work that we do, whistlekick.com, use the code FIRSTCUP15, or support the Patreon, patreon.com/whistlekick. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to Frank and Jen for their contributions to the show this morning. And thanks to all of you watching live and afterwards. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll be back tomorrow, as I always am, 6:30 a.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube. Take care, everybody. Peace.